next presentation is on artificial intelligence from Telefonica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Juan Caro. I'm the Director of Operations Transformation from Telefonica Group. And today, I want to share with you a program that my team and I are leading in the group that we call the Autonomous Network Journey. Okay? This is a huge program that comprises all the transformations that we are doing, and we will talk a bit about what's the role of AI in all of this. Hopefully, if you're in the industry as you are, this will be no news for you. I think we are in the same transformation, but hopefully also you will get some insights, or even you can critique what we are doing. Any feedback is welcome, okay? So first, a bit of context. This is not new for anybody, but I think we are in a huge transformation, probably the biggest of the industry in the last. Telefonica is 98 years old, so I think we're in the biggest transformation. No? Services that are going to come, like connected car or the metaverse that we just recently saw, are going to demand different things from our networks. No? Ultra low latencies, a lot of devices connected, more bandwidth, things that we cannot do with the current architecture, with the current networks. So we are changing everything. No? We are going towards a new network, let's say. And this new network has some attributes that we don't have in the past. No? So specifically two, for me, are key. No? They are going to be open, hopefully. We're pushing a lot from the operators. And they're going to be virtualized or in the cloud, no? Or either public or private. And these are huge changes that we can. This is not only a technological evolution. This is going to change everything. No? From operations, and I'm really afraid of this. No? Virtualized is breaking vertically, as I said. Now you break the hardware and the software, and you make a softwareized network. So this looks very good. Now we can treat software better. We have more flexibility, but the life cycle of the software is much more quickly, and this comes with a lot of problems. Now we now do one upgrade a year, for example, for some pieces. Then we will have new versions of the functions every week, couple of weeks. We have to prepare ourselves to a completely different world. And the openness, that is very good, and will bring new partners in the ecosystem, will foster innovation, is again a very good thing. It will give us more flexibility, but for example, in Open RAN, as we saw last, we have now one product from Ericsson or Nokia or whoever. In the Open RAN ecosystem, we'll have 10 different vendors for doing the same, with open interfaces interoperating. And that's, as I said, good for the industry. We have to do. We are pushing in front of Telefonica a lot, but if you're an operations guy, we cannot operate the same way. So we're in the middle of a journey that is going to be very complex. No? And these new networks cannot be operated the way we are doing, and with our current people and with our current processes. This is the bad news. No? This automation is no longer a thing that we do to be more efficient or to be able to improve our P&L. Automation has to be in the design of this network, because you can put 1,000 more people there, and you're not going to cope with a network with hundreds of virtualized nodes, moving loads in real time in the edge with the slices and all that kind of things. It cannot be done manually, and it cannot be done with the current processes that we have today. So we need a huge change. So I don't want to be the bad news guys, no, but this is the fact, and I think in this hype that we are living, we have to be sometimes with our feet on the earth. But there are good news too. No? I think for the first time, we have been in these kind of congresses for the last 10 years talking about self-healing, self-organized, autonomous network. I've been 20 years in Telefonica, 22, and I think since the beginning we were talking about liquid networks with Nokia, a lot of these kind of things. And I have to say that for the first time, I think this new technology is able to do something like that. We have something that potentially, not today, not tomorrow, not in 3 years, potentially can do that. Now you imagine a softwareized network based in a virtualized architecture. You can do really automation, full automation, and even AI is starting to be ready to do a lot of these closed loops. So this is still a lot to do, but for the first time, I think we can talk about things that will happen, and not just to do the marketing of the networks. No? So we set up a year ago in Telefonica a big program. We have structured this way in 8 projects, tens of work streams, hundreds of initiatives. This is the whole bunch of things that we are doing and that we think that we have to do to reach this autonomous network concept whenever it is, in 10 years or whatever it is. We have a structure, we have KPIs, we are following that across our other domains. And as you can see, AI is one project, but really AI is in the center of everything. So from bottom to top, I'll briefly comment each of the projects. No? The first one, the one we are at the bottom, is technology and architecture evolution. Here we are putting all the technology changes that we need to do. From the evolution of the different domains, the radio with the RIC, the Open RAN, the core with the Core 5 VSA, virtualization, all the functions, the standalone, in the transport, disaggregation, SDR. Each domain is going to change radically. We have new functions, there will be new controllers, probably an orchestration in each domain. It is going to change dramatically. And then we have other things like network as a service here, network APIs. We have a multi-domain orchestration and network orchestration. So there are a lot of things that we have to change in our architecture. Edge computing, telco edge cloud, all the things we're working with GSMA, with other operators, telco stack. A lot of things that are going to change from the pure technological point of view. No? I think this is what we know and we can do very well. The technology is going to evolve. A lot of suppliers are working on that. We are working on that. And we will deploy all these new technologies in the network. I'm not going to say this is easy, but from all of them, I think this is the one that is going to happen. This will be available, maturity will increase, both in Open RAN and all the rest of things, and it will be deployed in our network, and architecture is going to change dramatically. Okay? Here, AI is very important. If we want to apply AI, we need an architecture that is thought, and we will talk about data and all that kind of things, with platforms to do AI. And we will have AI in different layers of the architecture. It will not be a brain in the center of the network controlling everything. We will have AI from the microchip of the mobile device that Intel and Dell, and we are collaborating with them, have AI in their own microchips, to in every network function, in the core, in a lot of things in the network. No? And how we manage that will depend if we do a very good architecture. Second project is data. And we are not very good at data traditionally in telco, I think. No? We used to work in, and we are still doing some domains, in silos. No? We have these silos of data. We have, yes, thousands or millions of alarms, a lot of data we have. But we didn't have it really in a way that we could use it to do end-to-end or to get very much insights. And we are changing all of this. Not only from the point of view of getting the data, we have props, data is not the problem, the amount of data. The problem is to get it, to secure it, to clean it, to put it somewhere. It's public cloud, it's private cloud. How do we do the govern, that everybody can access the data that they need, but not the data that they can't? The law is very important, protects data privacy. But we have a roadmap for the data. We have a management of the data. Once the data is going to be key, you need data for a report, it's okay. If you don't have the data, it's a minor problem. But when you have closed loop AI, if the data is not there at the right time, people will not be there, and it will be a disaster. So we need to manage data completely different than traditional. It's not BI, it's not data warehousing. So data is a huge project, and it's going to change even organizations. You know? Have a single catalog, have a responsible for data from the network data in the network area. A lot of things, from technology to processes to organization. We are changing the way we operate to be able to provide this data as a service to the whole company, to be able to consume it, both for reporting and for AI or algorithms or managing the network. And of course, this is key for AI. You know, if we don't have the data, we can have this trash in, trash out. This one is OSS. Again, we are very used to work with silos. Who here has Netcool or TMIP for management, or Infovista or Mycom for performance? We have all of them. We have all of them across the world. This cannot be operated this way anymore, not for silos. We need to treat the OSS like platforms, put them on top of the data, and these functions like performance fall, consider them like apps on top of the data, and not more boxes that we depend on the roadmap of vendors. No? So we are changing the whole landscape of OSS from assurance to inventory. We need real-time inventories to really be able to manage telco cloud, real-time topology. The loads are going to change real time, and we need to understand where they are when there is a problem. We want to do an upgrade. So OSS is going to be transformed, and is being transformed radically across the group, because we'll need it to operate these new networks in a different way. Again, each of these projects are big by themselves. Another one is full lifecycle automation. Here, the aspiration is zero touch. Again, another fancy word that we have been talking for a lot, but again, something that we can now pursue. We have get all the processes from planning, testing, deployment, operating, performance. We have get all the domains, radio, core, transport, and we have made a list of use cases, which are the things that we need to automate, which are the activities that today we do manually, and we have made a roadmap to automate them based on what we can do now with the current tools and based on what is coming, with the right data, with the right OSS, with AI, with a lot of things. So there are things we can do short term, there are things we will do long term, but we have an obsession and a KPI based on full automation, and we are working on that. And for the new networks that we are going to deploy, we have an obsession, for example, Open RAN. We are working on when we massify that this has to be automatic or automated by design. We cannot do as we always did, deploy a technology and then go after the automation. We are working beforehand. Everything that is coming here, it has to come in this new format, in this new way of working. If not, we are not going to deploy it. Okay? So automation, again at the core, not only of automating the past, that is the things that we have been doing in the past, but with these new technologies and based on that the new networks are automated by design. Next one is AI. I have a next slide. Again, this automation, there are things that are rule-based, and there are things that will be AI. AI, again, has a role in automation. Then we have a couple of projects that are very important. They are not exactly autonomous network, but we thought that the attributes of our future autonomous network is not only that it is autonomous, but it has to be customer-centric, and it has to be sustainable by design. So we are building a new network that hopefully will be there for decades or whatever. So we want it to be customer-centric. It is going to make decisions with this AI. It has to have the customer there. So we how to get all this data, how to make all the models, how to understand the customer experience, and how to put that in every process of the company. That now that every people, the planning guy, knows exactly if he makes a decision of a base station here or there, which is the impact, the different services and customers, from the resource layer to the service to the customer. We've been working on that for years in Telefonica, but in this new network, it has to be ingrained in the DNA of the way it is going to work in the future. Now we have a whole project there, and sustainability is the same. Now we have very aggressive KPIs in the ESG in Telefonica. I think we are leading that. This new network has to be more sustainable. It is nonsense to make an autonomous network that consumes 2 times or 3 times what we have today. So it has to be efficient. We are good. 5G by design is 90% more efficient than 4G. Per traffic unit, fiber is more efficient than copper. So technology helps us, but we have to really design the architecture thinking in the energy, because the current architecture, copper 50 years ago, was not thinking on these kind of things. Now we have an opportunity to do it right. And the final project, probably the most important, the most challenging, we call it new ways of working, is how we have to change our whole teams. How we need to, what skills do we need, how to get them, a huge reskilling thing, how to hire the talent that we will need with the different skills that we don't have today, how to change the processes toward more agile, DevOps, all that kind of organizational changes. We cannot live with planning, engineering, and operations anymore in a virtualized and software world. So this is probably, Telefonica, we are 100,000 people, probably 1/4 of that in the technical areas. Challenging, I would say, but very necessary nevertheless. So this is the program. We're measuring autonomy with this framework of the TM Forum. I put here a bit of marketing. I think we need a way of measuring ourselves, and I think it's good we can benchmark against each other, telcos, to really see how we are doing in this journey that I think is common. I think this is the best thing that is out there. It's probably not so wide use, not so public yet. We are working with TM Forum. We are going to publish the way we are measuring ourselves, and we would like to other telcos to get in here, and so we can compare in which parts we are more advanced or less. And I think this is a race that we have to run together. So we are using this new model, and we'll be publishing things in this aspect soon. Talking about AI in particular, we are using AI in some parts of the network. No? We have been doing that for years, for better or worse, with the data that we had. And AI is a thing that is working in several domains. Now I have here some examples of processes where we are currently using AI, and it's working well. Now you have the typical domains, like I would say planning, how we can really predict the usage of services with the right granularity, so we can really have CapEx decisions based on what is going to happen and how it will affect the customers and all the other KPIs. We call this smart planning. We are using that. Again, predicting traffic in our networks and being able to make decisions beforehand. That's working well. I think this is not so complex. Now you got the data of that domain, of that region, and you can do that. Monitoring and diagnosis, that's another area where it's working well. We can monitor through the alarms on performance, but we can monitor through anomaly detection. And we are using that for certain spaces, not for the whole network in the whole processes yet, so we are not there yet, but we're using that is very good. The machine is able to detect things that there is not an alarm or whatever thing. And we are doing more and more on that, and even the next best action of root cause analysis and recommendations based on experience. We have limited parts of our network that we use that, and it's working again well. Predictive maintenance, especially in Germany, we have a big project that we put recently, I think December last year, in place. It's working very well. It's able to predict amazingly well some of the problems of the network that will happen. Of course, if a cable is going to be cut or whatever, no. But some of the problems of the base station, of the radio, this is able to predict fairly well, measuring a lot of things like temperature, CPU usage, a lot of things, and the machine can do really amazing things. I think this is a field where AI is able to help out of the box and write very, very quickly. Energy efficiency again, both from, we have power-saving features of our vendors that use AI, and then we have some, again, anomaly detection, I think, where we look for the sites and see which ones have different behaviors, and so we can, that expected, so we can go there and see what's happening there, what's the problem, and make actions. Here we are not very far there, but we are putting a lot of effort in energy efficiency in AI for that. I think this is, again, another field that can help us a lot. Customer experience is the first that we started, I think, 5 years ago. We are very happy with this. We had these KPIs of the network, and then we had surveys to understand the customer experience of our customers. Now we have more than 300 million accesses in the world, and we did a bunch of thousands of surveys. No? What do you think of the network? It was impossible to make any decision out of that. No? So we said, if we could predict the answer of the customer based on the data that we have of their usage, it would be great. And we have been working, we have a customer experience index for mobile broadband, a Wi-Fi experience index. We have IPTV experience index right now. And we are able to really predict, not the exact number of the 1 to 10, but if they are dissatisfied, neutral, or satisfied, with an amazing accuracy based on the data of the usage of our customers. No? This is helping us a lot in really making decisions out of experience and not only asking 100 customers and putting a note for the whole Spain, for example. No? So we are using this, but it is no way the thing that we need, and this is no way near autonomous network. Now it works. You have the data, you have the effort, you have the data scientists, you have the knowledge. It works. I think we all have in our operators cases, and we are doing more and more. But if we want to do this, that is really things that help our technicians to do things, to have a really autonomous network that our technicians has to program, but the network is autonomous by design, we need to change things dramatically. This is my last slide. And we have challenges ahead that I don't think if they have the right answer yet. No? Some of them we have talked through the presentation. The first one for me is architecture, which is the right hierarchy of AI. As I said, we will have hierarchy from the microchips to the domain controllers, over the OSS. We will have an AI ops platform for sure. We will have our algorithms end-to-end. The customer experience will have algorithms. We have some catalysts, for example, based on managing a slice based on the experience of the customers using that slide, and it works. But when they decide different things, who is ruling who? No? How do we manage a network that really works like a network, not like a bunch of different platforms rolling different algorithms. I think this is something we are not worried, but really studying, and I think we don't have an answer yet of how the different hierarchies of AI are going to work. Data governance, I said, this is very, very important. People, it's not only we have to retrain, there is a problem of hiring the right people and getting the right people in the markets. Now, for example, in Spain, we have created with some other big companies of other sectors a consortium. It's called Indesia, where we try to push the use of AI in the industry as a whole. There are Repsol, Gestam, Airbus, big companies of different domains. We are working with the universities to be able to see if we can push and create more skilled people to adjust the university grades to what we need in the industry and leading this part of the training country-wise. I think we need to do things like that because we need more people here. And finally, all the processes. No, it's to train an algorithm and put there is easy, but to manage the life cycle of the hundreds of thousands of algorithms, do ML ops, and really be able to retrain, we are not prepared. We don't know how to do it. We don't have processes. We don't have the tools, and we don't have the right people yet. No? So there are some challenges ahead to really be able to say that AI is managing our networks. But I think we are on the right track, and this is very promising. And for the first time, I can come here and talk about autonomous network without thinking this is going to be impossible. No, I think we have to do it, and will do. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is Miguel López Sarabia from Orange, Spain, and I would like to ask you about the people profiles that you think that you need for achieving this. Do you think that the ideal profile would be closer to a network engineer, or you think that everything is moving on to software, so you think that more skilled people at programming would be better? What's your view on this?
Yeah, we have had this discussion a lot of times. My personal point of view is it's easier to teach an engineer to program than the programmer to teach the network, the deep of the network. I'm an engineer myself, so I don't know if it's probably...
No bias.
So I don't think we will need programmers only. I think we need to have young people, for example, they come out of university knowing Python and all that kind of things. They know that by themselves, even they study. So we need these kind of people with these skills. But I think we need network engineers, and we will need them for a lot of time. But with programming as an additional skill, I think that's not to ask for Supermans. I think that's possible, but more to engineers. Sorry, I consumed the 20 minutes and I didn't let anything for questions.
Because we have the next presentation.
I'll be here the whole morning outside, so we can chat happily. Yeah?
Short one. What's your opinion on robotic process automation? Is it a prerequisite? Is it something that you see completely disconnected? It's something else?
I don't like it
Thanks.
at all. I don't like it at all.
Okay.
I think RPA is...
We're on the same page.
Okay. No, it's very good for, I don't know, tramitation or so bureaucracy. But for network operations, I don't believe it at all.
Sure.
Yeah? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be outside later, so happy to chat and even to hear from your companies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was a great presentation.